New comic book day is coming up again. So let's see what's on the pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is The Pull List, my weekly video series where I take a look at the current slate of new comic book releases, this time for Wednesday, May the 1st, 2024. I'm going to tell you what's on the pull list, which books are on my chopping block, and maybe some other things you should be looking out for that are on my radar as well. Now, I always like to start these off with the books that I'm most excited for. Before I do, I should let you know this Saturday is Free Comic Book Day. So if you've been watching the channel and you love seeing the stuff that I'm picking up, but you're not quite sold for whatever reason, you haven't tried out an actual comic book yet, I would encourage you, go down to your local comic shop. There will be tons of free comics. I think there's like 48 titles this year made specifically for Free Comic Book Day. So you can grab those for free. Most local comic shops are going to be running some kind of a sale or special to get you to spend some money and hopefully fall in love with some comics and keep coming back for years to come. It worked with me, so maybe it'll work for you as well. I've got a video coming out Wednesday where I'll go over in greater detail which books are coming out and what I'm going to be doing for Free Comic Book Day. So check that out Wednesday on the channel if you're interested. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. Now, let's talk about the book that I am most excited for. And this week, that is Space Ghost, issue number 1 from David Pepose and Jonathan Lau, coming from Dynamite Entertainment. Listen, I had David Pepose on the podcast last week. So if you have not listened to the Pepose interview, you're tripping. Go back and listen to it. We spent the entire hour, most of the hour, talking about Space Ghost and his inspiration for this series and why he's so excited to bring this book back. You're probably like me in that I only experienced Space Ghost through old Hanna-Barbera reruns from like Boomerang and Cartoon Network when I was a kid. And then also Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which, can't lie, went completely over my head. I did not like it. I was like 7 and I was like, what is this talk show? It's weird. But for whatever reason, I've always loved the Space Ghost character design, and the actual Space Ghost cartoons that I've seen were like really, really cool, but they were few and far between in rerun land. All that to say, Dynamite got the license, and now we are getting a brand new Space Ghost comic for the first time in a while. There was a Jeff Parker series, I want to say. He did some stuff during Future Quest. So he had like an origin story and all this, but this is a brand new jumping in point. I got to read issue 1, and usually if I read a book before release day, I'll knock it down some on the pull list because maybe some of that excitement's gone. Let me tell you, I read a watermarked copy of this issue. I need to see this book with no watermarks. Like, I need this book in its full glory. This book is amazing. This book, it's really good. It's not often that you can jump in on the ground floor of a superhero and it still feel classic, but it doesn't feel like, hey, we rebooted Batman for the 95th time this decade. You know? Something about it. It's fresh and nostalgic all at the same time. If you've experienced Space Ghost from the 60s cartoon, or from Space Ghost Coast to Coast, or even from some of the DC Warner Brothers crossovers, I promise you've not seen Space Ghost like this. This is Space Ghost meets Batman: The Long Halloween. Like, it's great. All that to say, it's still the book I am most excited to read this week in a fairly stacked week for New Comic Book Day. So I'm grabbing this with a cover price of $4.99. There are a lot of covers. It's a Dynamite book, so you know there's a lot of covers. That cover A by Francisco Mattina is actually really good. I am also a big fan of the Michael Cho cover. I think it's cover D or E, but the Michael Cho cover, if you got to just get one, that's the one. There was also like an FOC bonus cover featuring a character design by Alex Toth, who did originally design Space Ghost for the cartoon. So that's a cover to look out for as well. I really like all of those, but if nothing else, I'm getting that Michael Cho cover. Final answer. Cover price on that is $4.99. So since we started off with the indies, let's keep it going with another licensed book from Dynamite Entertainment. This is Lilo and Stitch, issue number 3, written by Greg Pak with art by Julia Giacomino. And this book is also really good. I mean, listen, I'm a kid at heart. I'm a 90s kid. Lilo and Stitch for what it's worth, it's probably the last Disney animated movie that I remember and feel really nostalgic about before they just switched to like all Pixar all the time. But anyway, really enjoy Lilo and Stitch. And this series is basically Stitch going on like a series of adventures. He's being hunted by an alien race. Why is he being hunted? Find out while reading the book. But as he's being hunted, he's decided to kind of take his talents elsewhere in hopes that he won't, put his family in danger. And, Ohana means family, and family means no one gets left behind. And so we're on a quest to bring Stitch back to his family, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Issue 3 out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. Actually, I'm not. The cover C is by Edwin Gallman, who is an up-and-coming artist that I really love, and I'm grabbing the Edwin Gallman cover C. We'll talk more about Edwin Gallman a little bit later. Anyway, next up, another book from Dynamite. Man, again, my vote for Publisher of the Year, if it is not already evident by my pull list choices. Next up is Darkwing Duck, Negaduck, issue number 5. Negaduck. Who's writing Negaduck? I want to say Jeff Parker's writing Negaduck, actually. But I don't know who's on art. And Jeff Parker and Ciro Congelosi. Anyway, Negaduck has been pretty good. It's basically like Negaduck is Darkwing's dark opposite, dark clone. And so all the things that we love about Darkwing, his like stubbornness, his self-centeredness, the what's that word? Narcissism. All that stuff that you love about Darkwing, what he's fighting for good, you'll love the same things about Negaduck as he's, trying to hatch his evil plan. And it's been fun. The detriment to this series has been that it's not coming out on time. Maybe it's on time. It's just not timely, in my opinion. Like, I feel like we're getting an issue once every 2 months. And with a book like this, that's just so like silly and episodic, it can be really hard to remember what happened between issues. Because it's just taken so long to come out. This will be great in trade though, and it's definitely a great book to read to, with, or for your kids. So grab Darkwing Duck, Negaduck, issue number 5 out this week with a cover price of $3.99. Grabbing cover A. And next up on the indie pull list this week is The Walking Dead Deluxe, issue 88. Listen, for 44 consecutive months, I have been picking up 2 issues of The Walking Dead Deluxe because that's the only way to get The Walking Dead in color. And I've been enjoying it. I've been dipping in and out sporadically. I am nowhere near issue 88 in this series, but it's been fun. And it's fun to collect those David Finch covers. Speaking of, this one's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And last book on the Indie Comics pull list this week from Massive Publishing is Zoro Man of the Dead, issue number 4, written by Sean Gordon Murphy with art by Sean Gordon Murphy. And this book is great. I mean, this is the final issue. So if you hadn't been picking it up, maybe wait for a trade paperback. I think those are coming. This one's weird because this was released as a Kickstarter book first, and then it went to the direct market, but the Kickstarter was for the collected edition. So there might not be a trade hitting the direct market anytime soon, but you can grab it digitally, and if not, you can just go to massivepublishing.com and check to see what they've got available in their inventory. But Zoro Man of the Dead, basically this dude, Diego, somehow woke up thinking he was Zorro one day and is leading this town to like on a rebellion against the drug lords or the cartel. And he's in a precarious situation as we found him at the end of issue 3. So hopefully somebody's going to save the day in issue 4. And that'll be a fun series. Zoro Man of the Dead, issue 4 out this week with a cover price of $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the indie books on the pull list this week. If I stick to the list, those are going to cost me $22 this week. A pretty heavy week for the indies. My man Skip would be proud. So now it's time to take a look at the big 2. And my favorite of the big 2 is DC Comics, of course. So let's take a look. First up, we got the Nightwing 2024 annual. There are a lot of annuals coming out this week from DC, but I'm going to save my money for Free Comic Book Day and only grab this one, the Nightwing 2024 annual. This week, we're getting B's Secret Origin, B as in Beatrice Blood, Nightwing's ex. If you were reading during the Rick Grayson days, you're familiar with her. And she recently resurfaced in the later half of this run. And we find out that she's pretty important to the history of Bloodhaven. How important? Well, you'll probably find out by reading this one-shot 2024 annual giving you the secret origin of Beatrice Blood. Cover price on that is $5.99. And I'm going to grab the cover A. And the last book on my DC Comics pull list this week is the Superman House of Brainiac Special, issue number 1. It's a one-shot. This one is pretty cool. So the Superman House of Brainiac event is officially underway. We had an issue of Action Comics and then an issue of Superman, both written by Joshua Williamson, both with art by Rafa Sandoval. And bro, if you're not reading this event, you're tripping, because this event looks amazing and has been a very fun read so far. I mean, we've got Superman on a Lobo motorcycle. We've gotten all kinds of fun things. If you're not caught up, basically Brainiac has brought an army of Zarnians to Earth to wreak havoc. An army of Zarnians we might have not have thought was possible, considering that Lobo is supposed to be the last of his kind. And so in this issue, hopefully, we're going to find out exactly how Brainiac and the Zarnians are even a thing. I've got some ideas, if Kandor is any indication, but we're going to find out officially in this story. Like I said, man, this book has been amazing. The art has been amazing by Rafa Sandoval. The House of Brainiac special has art by my man, Edwin Galman, who is an up-and-coming artist, like I mentioned earlier, who I've really been enjoying. We've seen him on a few different, I want to say it was a Superman annual from 2023, or it might have been earlier this year, but he did a backup story in that annual. We've seen him on variant covers. We've seen him on a lot of different things here and there. But as far as I know, this is the first time he's doing full interiors on a big 2 property. So I'm excited to see what this book looks like. Superman, House of Brainiac special, out this week with a cover price of $5.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the DC Comics on the pull list. As long as I stick to the list, those are going to cost me $12. And now we can move on to the House of Ideas and see what they've got cooking up. Over at Marvel Comics, there is a major event starting this week, and that is called Blood Hunt. The Blood Hunt is spinning out of the events of Jed McKay's Avengers. Also, I'm assuming spinning out of Blade. At least Blade is involved. I can't lie, I'm not crazy excited about it. I mean, it's vampires taking over the Marvel Universe. And I mean, we just had vampires taking over the DC Universe like a year and a half ago. I don't care about vampires, and I don't think this event is going to make me. But Marvel is pulling out all the stops. For one, they've got this issue, The Blood Hunt, written by Jed McKay. But then they've also got a Red Band issue. For $1 more, you can get this polybagged book with even more bloody and gruesome and violent vampiric scenes. So if that's your thing, if horror books are definitely the wave right now, if that's your bag, you'll enjoy this book, I assume. I could care less, but I'm reading this because they canceled the mainline Black Panther book and then completely spoiled Black Panther's role in this event, off the rip. So there's a miniseries coming. I won't even tell you the name of it. Well, it's Black Panther Blood Hunt. There's a miniseries coming with Black Panther. You can guess what happens to him. And because of that, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll read the main event so I can see what's going on with T'Challa. And if you're a fan of Blade, which also just got unceremoniously canceled after 10 issues, you'll be pleased to know that Blade is going to make an appearance, a pretty hefty appearance, in the Blood Hunt event, both in the main book, I assume, and then also Brian Edward Hill is writing a Midnight Suns book. So if you love Brian Edward Hill, if you miss his writing on Blade, have no fear. Midnight Suns is part of the Blood Hunt event. Blood Hunt is taking over the Marvel Universe. If you're reading any Marvel books, you might as well grab Blood Hunt. But I'm not going to fall for the trap and buy a million tie-ins. I'm buying the Black Panther joint, and I'm buying this main series. And that's going to be it for me, dog. Blood Hunt #1 out this week with a cover price of $5.99. Again, $1 more if you want that gruesome Red Band variant. I'm grabbing cover A. Next up is X-Men, issue number 34. This is the penultimate issue, as my man Rockin' Robbie loves to say. The second to the last issue of X-Men by Jerry Duggan, which has been pretty solid in Hickman's absence, in my opinion. I think Jerry Duggan's there's been a lot of people in the X-Men office doing really solid work. I've been getting caught up over the last couple of weeks. So this past weekend, I got caught up on both X-Force and Wolverine, except the Sabretooth War. I still haven't read the Sabretooth War, but I've read everything in Wolverine up until that point, and then I've read all of X-Force. X-Force ended beautifully, in my opinion. You can't really read, you can definitely read X-Force without Wolverine, but those books really work together really, really well. All that to say, Ben Percy on the X-Men titles had been great, and he's going to be missed. And that has nothing to do with this X-Men by Jerry Duggan. I just thought I would say the Fall of X has not been all nonsense. It's just the publishing schedule that really sours the experience for me. But all that to say, Jerry Duggan's X-Men, I think I've gotten to like issue 31. So I'm not crazy far behind, but I'm far behind enough to have no idea what's about to happen. So there's that. Issue 35 is also legacy number 700. It's going to be a double-size, oversized special. It's going to be the Krakoa send-off as well. So we're winding down. I would imagine this is going to be like the final battle for Krakoa. And then in issue 35, we're going to get like more aftermath and reflections and setting up the new status quo. But that would just be me guessing as a fan, not having read it. X-Men issue 34. Start with that. Cover price on this is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the Marvel Comics on the pull list. Those two books will cost me $10 this week, which means my grand total is a fairly modest $44. That's before taxes and my 10% subscriber discount over at Ultimate Comics Raleigh, where I will be for Free Comic Book Day this Saturday. May the 4th be with you. Free Comic Book Day. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. Like I said, if you're waiting for a breakdown of which books to grab for Free Comic Book Day, don't worry, I got you covered. Hit the notification bell. You'll see that video come out on Wednesday. Till then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.